If you look at 15 years of what happened with the Community Food Security Coalition, its successes and its ultimate decommissioning, it was the failure to resolve issues of social justice into the environmentally originated framework of sustainability that I think really made it difficult to find a cohesive movement and a cohesive grounding. And so that's why I am super excited today, because we have some people who are joining us who I think are proving that this can be done, have a wonderful track record of actually showing and operationalizing, not just theorizing, how we can bring both social justice objectives into an economically viable business model to achieve sustainable food outcomes.
A lot of residents, I think, saw us as resources in the community that were outside of the sort of the government institutions and other larger institutions. And so we're bringing to us feedback on problems that they saw as being related to both community health and to social justice, but were not necessarily under the immediate purview of what we thought we were dealing with. So they kept bringing it to us, and we finally decided that if we were sincere and authentic about following these principles of listening to community and seeking mandates, essentially, from the community for our work, then this was something we needed to tackle.
In Brahm's introduction, I mean, you talked a little bit about identifying the community need and the community opportunities that were present. I think kind of getting some ground truths in where you were working. Yeah. How did you go about that process, Jessamyn? You had all these high-level connections as to what the global aggregate need might be for particular social services, but how were you able to hear what was really needed in East Harlem?
The truth of the matter is that the reality changes. What I understood to be the reality for low-income women and migrant women in New York City in 2008 is now very different. And so I think it is important, as kind of a leader of a social justice organization that's doing direct service, is to recognize that there is no, there's no one truth, and to be very agile in your programming to be able to recognize and address different truths and different political administrations and all, that really changes the reality for people, and we've had to be agile in how we think about that.
Brahm, this was already a huge success, I think, getting people's groceries started. And so what was the impetus to actually take this next step more recently? And did the needs of the community change, or did your perception about what was most important change?
I think what changed was my understanding of both the magnitude of the problem and the kinds of strategies that we're going to actually effectively and sustainably address them. For us, I think growing up a little bit, focusing on data a little more to inform us about what the nature of the problem was, going beyond anecdote and observation to really getting our hands around the numbers, showed us that this was much bigger of an issue and an opportunity than we were at all approaching.
And then, Jessamyn, you're coming from your career where you would know as much as there is to know about the macro outflow migration patterns of Jamaica. Mm-hmm. And now you're working on a very granular level.
Micro level.
I guess, a very, very micro level. Do you have to engage with what is viable market information in a different way? Have you changed your thinking about assessing what it is that your target's going to be? And how you think
very
about
much so. And I think as given that we've gone from startup to now, we're trying to we've grown a lot and we're trying to mature and we're trying to speak about our impact in a very different way. It has been a growing process of what kind of indicators we look at and where we pull data from. And I think as a social enterprise, you're pushed to look at very different data points. We're looking at market opportunity, you're looking at sales opportunity, and then you're looking at social need and social opportunity. I think if they don't want to hear your story, then you're not talking to the right investors. So when I started in 2008, there wasn't nearly the market and social capital that there is now. But given what your project is, I think there's lots of investors that are really interested in telling your story. And I think it's about finding the right person that wants to hear about the margins that you're getting and all of that financial data, but is also invested in your social mission. And you need to talk to everybody, but in the end, I think the right people will be motivated by your story.